34% from the floor and 25% from three. Butler scored 8 straight points to help the Heat take an 87-86 lead with 2:45 left in the game after his team had trailed by 7. He made 2 more free throws with 1:58 remaining to help Miami regain a 1-point lead. Then Bruce Brown got an offensive rebound and tip-in to give the Nuggets the lead for good. Trailing by 3 with 15 seconds left, Butler jacked up a 3-point attempt, but missed. Brown made 2 free throws to put the game out of reach and bring the title to Denver for the first time. It was an ugly and we couldn't make shots, but at the end we figured it out, Jokic said. I am just happy we won the game. Nuggets coach Michael Malone immediately set his sights on his young core. Murray is 26, Jokic 28, Michael Porter Jr. 24 and Aaron Gordon 27, winning more titles. I got news for everyone out there, Malone said as he stood on the championship podium. We are not satisfied with 1. Denver had looked like champions for much of the season and qualified for the playoffs as the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. That was in contrast to the upstart Heat, who overcame the odds to qualify for the NBA Finals as a number 8 seed. Denver's win leaves Phoenix, Utah, Brooklyn, Orlando, Indiana, Charlotte, Memphis, Minnesota, New Orleans and the Los Angeles Clippers as the 10 current franchises still waiting for a first NBA championship. After a sloppy first half, the Nuggets bounced back in the second as Nikola Jokic finished with a game-high 28 points and 16 rebounds, while Michael Porter Jr. also recorded a double-double, 16 points, 13 rebounds, and Jamal Murray contributed 14 points. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown also reached double figures with 11 and 10 points, respectively. The Heat had a chance to tie the game with just 15 seconds left, but a 3-point attempt from Jimmy Butler missed as the Nuggets secured the victory. After missing out on a 3rd consecutive NBA MVP award last month, Jokic was named the Finals MVP and honored by Commissioner Adam Silver before the sellout crowd of more than 19,000 people at Ball Arena. Denver defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves, Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat along their championship run. The championship parade is scheduled for Thursday morning beginning at 10 a.m. MT, starting at Union Station and ending at Civic Center Park. Two-time MVP Nikola Jokic led the way for the Nuggets with a game-high 28 points and 16 rebounds. The Serbian big man was voted most valuable player of the NBA Finals. Nuggets coach Michael Malone said, "Nikola Jokic is a great person. He's a great husband, father and son and brother. And on the basketball court he has proven time and time again that he's the best player in the NBA. He's our MVP, we love him and we're thankful that he's wearing a Nuggets uniform." Denver's Michael Porter Jr. had 16 points and 13 boards and Jamal Murray chipped in 14 points. Jimmy Butler had 21 points and Bam Adebayo had 20 to lead Miami, which as an 8 seed had surprised the NBA by advancing to the finals. Denver struggled from the free throw and three-point lines but only trailed by 1 point, 89-88, with 1:58 left in the contest. They scored the game's final 6 points with Bruce Brown knocking in a putback layup with 91 seconds left and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Brown hitting free throws as the final minute played out. Miami couldn't connect as Heat players tried several three-pointers. The Nuggets were victorious despite being 5-4-28 on threes and 13-23 at the free throw line. The Nuggets, who played in the American Basketball Association for 9 seasons beginning in 1967, joined the NBA before the 1976-1977 season. It didn't come easy, then again, nothing you've waited half a century for ever comes easy, but the Denver Nuggets are now NBA champions after beating the Miami Heat 94-89 Monday night to close out the NBA Finals after winning 4 games to Miami's 1. It was fitting. Game 5 in Ball Arena, at altitude, amongst a raucous crowd, was the climactic slugfest this story deserved. The match started with a scoring frenzy by the Nuggets and an early avalanche here in Denver, as Mike Breen so poetically put it, as if calling upon the Colorado team, the NHL's Avalanche, that won a title in the same building just a year ago. But what at first felt like would be a comfortable Game 5 celebration when quickly became a boxing match. The Miami Heat went on an 18-point swing that put Denver down by as many as 10. And from there, the Nuggets had to climb out of the hole to meet destiny. The threes weren't dropping. The free throws weren't landing. But the defensive tenacity, the audacious rebounding and a kinetic desperation to bring the title home kept the Nuggets in the game. After an early first quarter lead, the Nuggets would play from behind until finally taking it back late in the third. And then came the fourth quarter. The energy was helter-skelter, as Breen put it. Star Nikola Jokic guided Denver through the chaos and a late flurry from Miami's Jimmy Butler to squeeze past the Heat for a frantic victory. Jokic had 28 points and 16 rebounds for the Nuggets, who missed 20 of their first 22 three-point attempts and 7 of their first 13 free throws but figured out how to close out the series on their home floor. Butler scored 8 straight points to help the Heat take an 87-86 lead with 2:45 left after trailing by 7. He made 2 more free throws with 1:58 remaining to help Miami regain a 1-point lead. Then, Bruce Brown got an offensive rebound and tip-in to give the Nuggets the lead for good. Trailing by 3 with 15 seconds left, Butler jacked up a 3, but missed it. Brown made 2 free throws to put the game out of reach and bring the title to Denver for the first time in the franchise's 47 years in the league. Butler finished with 21 points for the Heat. This was an ugly, frenetic affair, but the aftermath was something the Nuggets and their fans could all agree was beautiful. Denver is the home of the Larry O'Brien Trophy for the first time in the franchise's 47 years in the league. It was an ugly and we couldn't make shots, but at the end we figured it out, Jokic said. I am just happy we won the game. The Heat were, as coach Eric Spoelstra promised, a gritty, tenacious bunch. But their shooting wasn't great, either. Bam Adebayo had 20 for the Heat, but Miami shot 34% from the floor and 25% from 3. Until Butler went off, he was 2 for 13 for 8 points. The Heat, who survived a loss in the play-in tournament and became only the second number 8 seed to make it to the finals, insisted they weren't into consolation prizes. They played like they expected to win, and for a while during this game, which was settled more on the ground than in the air, it looked like they would. The Nuggets, who came in shooting 37.6% from 3 for the series, shot 18% in this one. They committed 14 turnovers. They only went 13 for 23 from the line, though Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope were 4 for 4 at the end while Denver was salting away the win. With 2:51 left in the first quarter, Jokic got his second foul and joined Aaron Gordon on the bench. The Nuggets were tentative on both sides of the court for the rest of the half. Somehow, after shooting 6.7% from 3, the worst first half in the history of the finals, 10-shot minimum, they only trailed by 7. True to the Nuggets' personality, they kept pressing, came at their opponent in waves and figured out how to win a game that went against their type. Their beautiful game turned into a slugfest, but they figured out how to win anyway. That's why basketball is a fun sport, Jokic said. It's a live thing. You cannot say, this is going to happen. There are so many factors. I'm just happy that we won the game. As Breen, who marked his 100th NBA Finals call in Game 5, put it, the Nuggets are on top of the Rocky Mountains and on top of the NBA mountain. The Mile High City is on top of the basketball world. From the opening jump of the 2023 NBA Finals, Denver Nuggets head coach Michael Malone was prepared for everything his Miami Heat counterpart would hurl at his team, and Eric Spoelstra will unfurl anything. For all the discussion about Spoelstra and Heat culture through the Eastern Conference Finals, and a championship with this 8th-seeded squad would have made a case for the greatest coaching job in league history, we should pause for a moment to appreciate the environment Malone has cultivated in Denver. They've built something that is stable, that's consistent, Spoelstra said. You know what they stand for. Spoelstra carried his small ball starting lineup's success against the Boston Celtics into the series, and Malone punished Miami for it. Given a week's time to prepare for the Heat, Denver identified Aaron Gordon as an X-factor, since no one but Bam Adebayo can match his athletic force at 6'8", 235 pounds, and the Nuggets mercilessly fed Gordon the rim against smaller defenders in the opening quarter of Game 1. 4 times they went to him, and 4 times he scored, forcing Spoelstra's first timeout 5:26 into the series. Denver never trailed Game 1 after that initial punch, leading by as many as 24 points in a decisive victory, and Spoelstra adjusted to a larger lineup, starting Kevin Love in place of Caleb Martin for Game 2. The Nuggets took a counterpunch in the first quarter, rode their bench to a 15-pound lead in the second quarter, and then let go of the rope against a team that hits every opponent with a realization it never stops tugging. When the Heat evened the series, the question was asked, did they successfully turn Nikola Jokic into a scorer rather than a playmaker? Spoelstra dismissed the notion, and the focus turned to his comments about how that was only the opinion of someone with an untrained eye rather than what his answer revealed about Malone. That's not how they play. They have so many different actions that just get you compromised. Likewise, Malone recognized that the defeat, a narrow one, by the way, that fell inches short of overtime on a decent Jamal Murray look, had more to do with his team's failure to match the effort level necessary to beat these Heat and win a title. Malone also understood his team would respond to his public criticism. This is the NBA Finals, and we are talking about effort. That's a huge concern of mine, he said after his team's first loss in almost a month. You guys probably thought I was making up some storyline after Game 1 when I said we didn't play well. We didn't play well. We had guys out there that were, whether feeling sorry for themselves for not making shots or thinking they can turn it on or off. This is not the preseason. This is not the regular season. This is the NBA Finals. That to me is really, really perplexing, disappointing. There is nothing like a loved one's disappointment to make you look within yourself, and Malone's call-out worked because he had already empowered his team to do just that. I asked them, you guys tell me why they lost, and they knew the answer, he said. Miami came in here and outworked us, and we were by far our least disciplined game of these 17 playoff games. You can tell a coach's message is resonating when his lieutenants in the locker room, the veteran voices, are echoing his sentiments through the media. Not only did Denver bring better energy for Game 3, Malone added tactical adjustments on both sides of the ball. He sent less defensive help to Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, better accounting for Miami's shooters, and he leveraged rookie Christian Braun's size and athleticism to serve as a zone defense-busting cutter. The Nuggets doubled their contests, contributing to the Heat's decline in efficiency from distance, 17-4, 35 from 3 in Game 2 and 11-4, 35 in Game 3, and Braun converted all 7 of his assaults on the rim. Denver's defense in this series, which has limited the Heat to 102.2 points per 100 possessions in 3 losses, the equivalent of the best defensive rating of the pace and space era, peaked at the right time. "They are a really good team," Braun said of the Heat. "They make good adjustments, have a great coach. We've got to find a way to beat the different things they throw at us. They've thrown the press, they've thrown zone at us, try to give you a lot of different looks, keep you on your heels. They are doing a really good job of it. Our coaches are putting us in the right position, too, to counter them and beat them, too." Kudos to Malone, who has not let his team forget that its offensive prowess could not deliver a championship on its own. Preaching defense can fall on deaf ears 8 years into a coach's tenure, especially when the team's offense is historic. Not in Denver, where the coach and his stars are in lockstep, and their unified message ripples down the rotation. The fortitude of a team falters when not everyone is on the same page. "He's a competitor at heart," veteran Nuggets reserve DeAndre Jordan said of Malone. "We can see the fight and tenacity he has. He wants to win just as much as we do, and I think when you have a guy like that at the helm, it's very important, and it's contagious to the players, and we all kind of rub off on each other. Take Michael Porter Jr., for example. Malone demanded defense from the touted prospect, even as most everyone called for Porter to play through mistakes, and the strategy has borne fruit years later, despite the 24-year-old's struggles offensively in this series. Riding Braun in the second half of Game 3 was a choice, and one Malone abandoned for Porter's defense when Braun was less impactful against Miami's man-to-man looks in Game 4. Denver might have lost Porter entirely if Malone had not previously put in the work. "One thing I really respect about Coach Malone is that he's consistent in how he is," Porter said. "He hasn't coached us or tried to motivate us any different than he has all season. He is very competitive. Even Game 81, he was just as upset about losing that game to Utah as he would a game right now. So, he's very consistent in his approach and the way he coaches us individually and as a team. I can respect that." Everything came together in Game 4, the franchise's greatest victory to date, before a back-and-forth Game 5 that showed the Worman-like Nuggets' resolve and clinched the championship. "We cannot discredit Jokic, whose unselfish brand of basketball and skill to execute it are the biggest reasons the Nuggets won their first title. But that style of play does not permeate every corner of the roster without the coach fostering it first, and then expecting it to sustain even when the two-time MVP is not on the floor. Which is precisely what happened Friday, when Gordon slid into a small ball version of Jokic's role during the Serbian center's fourth-quarter foul trouble. Gordon screened Murray's man and delivered a handoff that the point guard converted into a three-pointer, stemming a rising Heat tide early in the quarter. That play ran the Nuggets to 14 points on 10 possessions directly out of timeouts in the last 2 games. Just about every lever Malone has pulled in this series, from beginning to the end, came up Denver. A championship stamps Jokic as an all-timer and Murray as his worthy co-star, but it also validates Malone as one of his profession's very best. Take nothing away from Spoelstra, who does not have the horses to make this a race, but Malone was every bit as good, and that should put every team trying to build a winner in the near future on notice. Nuggets culture is sustainable under Malone's watch. NBA Finals MVP Nikola Jokic calmly celebrates Nuggets' first title. "The job is done, we can go home now." Nikola Jokic looked incredibly content on the court at Ball Arena on Monday night. After the buzzer rang out to end Game 5 of the NBA Finals, giving the Denver Nuggets their first championship, Jokic took his time. With very little emotion on his face, he shook the hands of every single Miami Heat player before whipping out his trademark golf clap. Then, still calm as ever, he delivered a very simple line to ESPN's Lisa Salters. "It's good. The job is done, we can go home now," he said, chuckling. Jokic's wife, daughter, brothers and entire family were overcome with emotions almost instantly. Eventually, Jokic got to celebrate with them and coach Michael Malone on the floor. His brothers even started tossing Malone up into the air. There's no doubt that he deserved it, either. Jokic had 28 points and 16 rebounds in their 94-89 win in Game 5 on Monday, which closed out the series 4-1. He averaged 30.2 points, 14 rebounds and 7.2 assists in the NBA Finals and had 10 triple-doubles in the playoffs. Jokic also led the playoffs with 600 points, 269 rebounds and 190 assists, something that's never been celebration will be held Thursday, June 15th, according to the city of Denver, which announced the parade shortly after Monday night's victory. The Denver Nuggets Champions Parade will begin at 10 a.m. at Union Station, 17th and Wynkoop Streets, proceed down 17th Street to Broadway, and then travel south on Broadway to Civic Center Park. But for people who can't wait until Thursday, the streets of Denver are already full of celebration with thousands of fans flooding the downtown. "It's insane, man. I've been watching since Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson," Chase Cook of Denver said. "It's a great feeling, man. Seeing this all come together, I couldn't ask for a better night."